morning, you're watching Anewz. I'm Dilek Tuna. Here are the top stories for the hour. US President Donald Trump selects a design for a $175 billion Golden Dome missile defence system. Top finance officials from G7 countries begin a three-day summit in Banff to discuss global economy and Ukraine reconstruction. European Union announces the lifting of all economic sanctions on Syria. Damascus residents greet the decision with optimism. US President Donald Trump has officially approved the design of the Golden Dome system aimed at protecting the country from next-generation air and missile threats. Valued at $175 billion, the project is expected to be fully operational within 3 years. Trump says the system will be the most powerful defence shield ever built.
US President Donald Trump unveiled the final design of the ambitious $175 billion Golden Dome missile defense system, a strategic initiative intended to shield the nation from evolving threats posed by China and Russia.
This design for the Golden Dome will integrate with our existing defense capabilities and should be fully operational before the end of my term. So we'll have it done in about 3 years. Once fully constructed, the Golden Dome will be capable of intercepting missiles even if they are launched from other sides of the world and even if they are launched from space. And we will have the best system ever built. As you know, we helped Israel with theirs, and it was very successful, and now we have technology that's even far advanced from that. It's amazing how easy this is.
The project is included in Trump's proposed One Big Beautiful Bill, which Congress has yet to approve.
The Golden Dome for America is a game changer.
I'm also pleased to report that the One Big Beautiful Bill will include $25 billion for the Golden Dome to help construction get underway. That's the initial sort of a down deposit. And we have probably, you're talking about, General, we're talking about $175 billion total cost of this when it's completed. This afternoon, I'm also announcing that I will appoint, very importantly, General Gutlein to lead the ambitious new effort as the direct reporting program manager for the Golden Dome.
The Pentagon says full construction could take decades, with space components alone costing up to $542 billion over 20 years. The system aims to detect and destroy missiles at all stages, using hundreds of satellites. Trump says it can intercept missiles launched from anywhere, including space.
Very small expansion.
We say we will protect the homeland from cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, hypersonic missiles, drones, whether they're conventional or nuclear.
Defense experts warn that US missile systems lag behind Russia and China's advanced weapons, with both nations targeting weaknesses in current defenses, according to the Defense Intelligence Agency.
Canada wants to be a part of it, which be, fairly small expansion, but we'll work with them on pricing. We'll be dealing with them on pricing. They know about it very much. They've asked to be a part of it, actually. They've asked us to be a part of it. I think it's something that is great if you can afford to do it.
Inspired by Israel's Iron Dome, the new Golden Dome will be larger and more versatile, targeting hypersonic missiles and space-based threats with advanced technology.
We think it's going to be about a little bit less than 3 years, and we'll have a big phase-in very early. We're starting immediately with $25 billion. It'll cost about $175 billion completed, but we think in 2.5 to 3 years.
SpaceX, led by Elon Musk, is set to be a main contractor, with firms like Palantir and Anewz also involved. However, Democrats have expressed concerns over transparency.
Finance ministers from the G7 nations are meeting in Banff, Alberta in Canada for talks on trade, global growth and Ukraine.
Finance ministers from the G7 nations have gathered in Banff, Canada for a 3-day summit. The meetings will focus on trade tensions, China's growing export surge, and financial support for Ukraine. Canadian Minister François-Philippe Champagne said Ukraine's reconstruction could cost more than $500 billion and confirmed Canada will continue backing Kyiv.
Seeing the report from the IMF that the reconstruction effort in Ukraine is going to be north of $500 billion US dollar over a decade in order to rebuild this country, build back better together. And today was a moment that we could share. There's a lot that we could do together. We talked about energy infrastructure. We talked about infrastructure like roads, ports, railway. We talked about defense technologies. We talked about energy.
Ukrainian Finance Minister Sergei Marchenko, attending despite Ukraine not being a G7 member, urged stronger sanctions on Russia. He also called for the lowering of the $60 per barrel G7 price cap on Russian oil. The summit takes place under a changed political landscape. Since returning to office in January, US President Donald Trump has threatened to cut Ukraine aid and pressed Kyiv into a critical minerals deal. His new tariff policy has triggered unease among G7 allies, with countries such as Japan, Germany and Italy facing possible tariff hikes by July. US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is also pushing allies to take a tougher stance on China's export-driven economic model, which Washington blames for overcapacity and market disruption. The talks will also cover artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and ways to crack down low-value shipments from China, which the US links to fentanyl smuggling. These meetings set the stage for next month's G7 Leaders Summit in Kananaskis.
The European Union announces the lifting of all economic sanctions on Syria. This move aims to support the country's recovery following the ousting of President Bashar al-Assad in December 2024.
The European Union announced the lifting of all economic sanctions on Syria. EU Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas emphasised that this decision aims to support Syria's economic recovery and promote stability in the region. However, sanctions related to the Assad regime and human rights violations remain in place.
On Syria, ministers agreed to lift all economic sanctions while maintaining those related to Assad regime and human rights violations. This decision is reversible and conditional also on progress. There can be no peace without the path to economic recovery, and we all need a stable Syria. Is everything really ideal there? No, it is not. It's very clear, but I think we need to give the Syrian people a chance.
Syrians in Damascus expressed optimism after European Union foreign ministers' statement about Syria. Residents called EU's decision an excellent step.
The lifting of sanctions by anyone in the world, whether Europe, America or any other state, is for the benefit of the Syrian Arab citizen. And of course we get optimistic by this. By God's will, the prosperity will begin in a short period of time.
It is an excellent step. In my opinion, thanks to Mr. Ahmed al-Shara, the President, and his team for the speed of the steps they made. In my opinion, the sanctions were against the Syrian people, and thank God, this is an excellent step for the people to see a big improvement and difference.
The European Union's policy shift comes after President Donald Trump said last week he would order the lifting of US sanctions on Syria. The bloc has already eased sanctions related to energy, transport and reconstruction, as well as associated financial transactions. But some capitals have argued that the measures were insufficient to help support Syria's political transition and economic recovery.
The 5th Qatar Economic Forum has kicked off in Doha. It focuses on major issues such as the lifting of Syria's sanctions, the conflict in Gaza and regional investment opportunities.
The 5th Qatar Economic Forum kicked off in Doha with a focus on global economic shifts and regional challenges. At the opening session, Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani highlighted the lifting of US sanctions on Syria, calling it a crucial step toward rebuilding war-torn nations. He urged continued efforts to support countries emerging from conflict, stressing the need for real opportunities and long-term development. Meanwhile, he added that Egypt remains a key destination as part of Doha's wider push to expand its regional economic presence. During the forum, Prime Minister also addressed the ongoing Gaza conflict, noting that recent rounds of indirect talks between Hamas and Israel in Doha have not yet led to progress. He explained that the two sides remain divided in their approaches. Hamas is seeking a phased agreement that could lead to a broader deal, while Israel prefers a single comprehensive agreement to end the conflict and secure the release of all hostages.
The rounds of negotiations that took place in Doha in the past couple of weeks unfortunately didn't lead us anywhere yet, because there is a fundamental gap between the two parties, which is one party is looking for a partial deal that might or have the possibility to lead to a comprehensive deal, and the other party is looking just for one-off deal and to end the war and to get all the hostages out. And we couldn't bridge this fundamental gap with whatever proposals we have provided.
Al-Thani warned that a further escalation in Gaza could increase civilian casualties and complicate diplomatic efforts to reach a resolution. He called for continued dialogue and restraint to avoid worsening the humanitarian situation.
It is critical.
Israel's military says it's expanding its ground operation against Hamas in Gaza. Military Chief Eyal Zamir says Israel will capture more territory and continue destroying what he called terrorist infrastructure. On Tuesday, Israeli airstrikes hit several areas across Gaza, including 2 homes and a school. Gaza health officials say at least 18 people were killed, many of them women and children. Israel did not comment on the specific strikes, but has repeatedly claimed Hamas hides weapons and fighters among civilians, a charge Hamas denies. Meanwhile, fresh explosions lit up Gaza's skyline early Wednesday as global calls grow for more aid to reach civilians. Yemen's Houthi groups say they will enforce a naval blockade of the Israeli port of Haifa in response to Israel's ongoing assault in Gaza. The port of Haifa is the largest of Israel's 3 major international seaports, with nearly 20 million tons of cargo passing through each year. Houthi spokesperson Yahya Saree warned shipping companies to steer clear of the port, now listed as a target. The Houthis' declaration follows a pattern of escalating threats between the Iran-backed group and Israel. In the capital of Hungary, the summit of the Organisation of Turkish States kicks off, and our very own Andy Mioch has more from the venue.
We're coming to you from Budapest, where the informal summit of the Organization of Turkish States has kicked off. The representatives of member states Azerbaijan, Turkey, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan and Uzbekistan have arrived in Hungary, where they are hosted by the country's Prime Minister Viktor Orban. Now, this is the first OTS summit being held in an observer state. Hungary likes to say of itself that it is the most Western of the Turkic world. Ahead of the summit, Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev met with Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban to discuss strengthening cooperation and improving bilateral ties. The two countries have been strategic partners since November 2014 and have taken a step further in January 2023 when they signed a declaration on expanded strategic partnership. For now, let's hear what the two leaders had to say.
Without the support of the Turkic-speaking states, it would be very difficult for us to ensure our energy security today. However, we will do everything in our power to ensure the sustainability of our economy. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how the value of a reliable partner is measured. If it were not for the Turkic countries, the Hungarian population would have to spend 3 to 4 times more on energy. Mr. President has assured us that Hungary's gas supply will be ensured this year. as it was last year. Azerbaijan has assured us that we will be supplied with the necessary amount of gas.
Bizim iki taraflı günderliğimiz de kifayet kadar geniştir. Biz bugün bunu geniş müzakere ettik.
Our bilateral agenda is also quite extensive. We discussed this in detail today. We are successfully cooperating in the energy sector. Hungarian companies have stakes in two major oil and gas projects in Azerbaijan, the Azeri Chirag Guneshli and Shah Deniz fields.
Növbəti kontrakt imzalanacaktır. Bu barada da bugün
The next contract will be signed early next year. We also exchanged views on this today. A Hungarian company will begin operating in the onshore oil fields of Azerbaijan. We have been exporting natural gas to Hungary since last year. I noted today, and the Prime Minister noted here too, that we can arrange gas supply at the level of Hungary's demand.
Olan seviyede biz gaz teminatı teşkil edebiliriz.
When it comes to economy, Hungary buys Azerbaijan's gas, both as LNG and delivered through the Trans-Anatolian pipeline, the Trans-Adriatic pipeline, and through European interconnections. Budapest has invested over $1 billion in Azerbaijan, with one of the most notable examples being Hungary's MVM Group, buying a 5% stake at the Shah Deniz gas field. Hungary and Azerbaijan, along with Georgia and Romania, are in a joint venture that's meant to transfer green energy from the South Caucasus to Europe. Now, this strategic partnership doesn't only cover trade and energy, it also covers policy. Hungary has always supported Azerbaijan's sovereignty and territorial integrity, and Hungary's companies are now engaged in some of the projects of reconstruction in the Karabakh region. Now, the gathering of OTS leaders is meant to be a waypoint for the future of the organization, while Hungary says this meeting will strengthen its role as a link between the West and the East. A Budapest declaration is also expected to be signed at the end of the summit. From Budapest for Anewz, Andy.
Armenia has reportedly signed major defence deals with India and France worth nearly $1.75 billion in total. The information comes from Russian and Indian sources, though Yerevan has not officially confirmed all the details.
Armenia has shifted its focus to defence and military equipment produced in India and France. According to a report by the Russian International Affairs Council, Armenia has signed defence contracts with India and France worth nearly $1.75 billion. The report says that between 2022 and 2023, Armenia agreed to buy weapons from India for around $1.5 billion. The contracts cover a wide range of military equipment, including rocket systems, anti-tank missiles, artillery, and air defence systems. Indian media have occasionally reported on these contracts, but Armenia has not officially confirmed them. Data from the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute shows that between 2022 and 2024, 43% of Armenia's arms imports originated from India. This marks a sharp contrast with the 2016 to 2018 period, during which Indian arms exports to Armenia were negligible. Furthermore, in 2023 and 2024, Armenia signed separate contracts with France worth about $250 million. Under the 2023 agreements, France delivered 24 Bastion armoured vehicles and a shipment of night vision equipment made by defence firm Safran. Armenia also finalised deals for Groundmaster 200 radars and Mistral 3 air defence systems. In 2024, additional contracts were signed for Caesar self-propelled howitzers and various models of assault rifles from French manufacturer PGM. The howitzer deal was publicly confirmed by French Defence Minister Sébastien Lecornu. Changes in Armenia's defence procurements policy come at the expense of Russia, previously the key supplier of military hardware to Armenia. Russia's continued struggle with sanctions and the protracted conflict in Ukraine created an opportunity for India and France to expand into the market traditionally dominated by Russia.
Turkey's Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan will pay a working visit to Russia from the 25th to the 27th of May. That's according to Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson Maria Zakharova. She added that Fidan is scheduled to hold talks with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov. The discussions will focus on regional issues such as Syria, Libya, the South Caucasus and the Black Sea region. They're also expected to discuss prospects for trade and economic cooperation, whilst reviewing plans for upcoming high-level bilateral meetings. The European Commission forecasts that Georgia's economic growth will reduce to around 5 or 6% annually in 2025 to 2026, after a strong 9.4% growth in 2024. Economic expansion will remain driven by consumer spending and rising wages. Meantime, unemployment fell to 13.9% last year, with real wages up 15%, boosted by skilled migration and labour shortages. Georgia's debt remains under control, pointing solid fiscal management. From freezing shady bank accounts to tracking dirty money with AI, the future of anti-corruption is being shaped right here in Baku. Azerbaijan is using the moment to lead global conversations, bringing together delegates to forge new partnerships and strengthen international action.
The 6th plenary meeting of the UN's Global Operational Network of Anti-Corruption Law Enforcement Authorities, GLOBI Network, is being held in Baku. The international event brings together over 300 participants from more than 120 government bodies, including 21 prosecutors' offices, 53 independent anti-corruption agencies, and 16 international organisations. President Ilham Aliyev has addressed the participants of the meeting. The message was read out by Azerbaijan's Prosecutor General Kamran Aliyev. According to the president's words, the country has established strong legal and institutional frameworks, made significant reforms, and continues to promote transparency, accountability, and international cooperation.
Baku has become global headquarters in the fight against corruption this week. Top law enforcement officials from around the world are here to explore how AI and tech can outsmart crime. Delegates from 92 countries are meeting to swap strategies and sign key cooperation deals.
The plenary session themed Prospects of Applying New Technologies and Artificial Intelligence in the Fight Against Corruption, focused on using new technologies and AI to fight corruption, features over 100 discussions on asset recovery, financial crime prevention, international cooperation, and public awareness.
We are expecting many outcomes of the event. One of them is the guidelines for sharing of information and the acknowledgement also of the model agreement between GLOBI members as well.
Very important features of that platform is that we trust that platform. It is secure, everything is encrypted. So it's very important for a law enforcement agency to work together in an efficient way and a secure way. So I think contributing ourselves in this GLOBI network is another very important element of it. We not only enjoy the benefit it brings to us, we have to actively contribute ourselves in terms of our knowledge, our experience, and what we can do to make this organization, this network, grow along with different stakeholders. So this is why we're here.
Pakistan is ready to have MOU with Azerbaijan because we know we cannot live unless we have unity, we have head-to-head. Immediately in the last year, Pakistan's Prime Minister has also announced to promote the trade and investment with Azerbaijan. So the moment these actions starts, the element of corruption also can be there, and we can have joint issues. Pakistan can come forward with an MOU, and under that MOU we can arrange workshops, we can training program, the capacity building issues, the joint training to understand what is happening in Azerbaijan with reference to anti-corruption and what we are doing in Pakistan.
Numerous bilateral meetings and the signing of Memorandum of Mutual Cooperation are planned at the meeting. The international event will last until May 23rd.
And now to sports news. Plenty happening on and off the pitch as the Premier League season nears its climax. From Brighton's stunning win over Liverpool to a fierce fight for European places. Plus major transfer whispers as the window prepares to open. With our Nick Summerby, we've also got the latest from the ice hockey world with scores, tables and key matchups coming up. Let's dive in.
Let's take you straight into the action. World Championship Ice Hockey. This finishes on the 25th of May, so it's getting very exciting. I'll give you the results and the fixtures as well. So, results coming from yesterday: Switzerland 4, Kazakhstan 1, Slovakia 1, Finland 2, Czechia 2, USA 5, Sweden 3, Canada 5, Germany 1 and Denmark 2. So USA really starting to hit form at the moment. Going into the groups, it's leading with Group A: Canada, Sweden, Finland, Austria, Latvia, Slovakia, Slovenia and France. France only with 1 victory. Canada leading 6 points, Sweden just behind with 6 points and Finland in 4 points. Going on to Group B, Switzerland, USA, Czechia, Denmark, Germany, Norway, Hungary and Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan at the bottom only with 1 point. There is a day off today and it will resume again on the 22nd with games USA, Finland, Switzerland, Austria, Sweden, Czechia and Canada, Denmark. So it's getting exciting. I'll be right across it with my next show on Friday. Taking you away from that onto the Premier League. Wow, it's getting really exciting. It's the final weekend and the final game on Sunday. But there was games on Monday night. Brighton beat Liverpool 3-2. I think Liverpool had just come back from partying, from obviously winning the Premier League. A few of them have been away to Ibiza and Dubai, but whatever, anyway, they deserve it. And well done to Brighton. They're still fighting to get into Europe. Then Palace last night played against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Palace, who won the FA Cup, and what an achievement that was. They managed as well, where you would have thought they'd have been possibly celebrating too much. They didn't. They got the job done as well, winning the game 4-2. And Eze again with another goal. We knew that he scored in the FA Cup final. Manchester City, it was vitally important that they picked up and finished the season strong to finish in the Champions League. They did, with 3-1 victory over Bournemouth. Kevin De Bruyne said his farewells, which was sad because at the end of the game he had a full 50,000 people just to say thank you, Kevin, and we say thank you to him as well, because he's definitely a Premier League all-time great. So there was sad scenes. It's been quite sad as well because at the end of Goodison as well at the weekend. So at this time of year you start to get a few feelings into it, because you're getting to the point where it's winning and players are coming to the end of their contracts, etc. like that. So just to give you an idea, the final weekend, we know Liverpool have won the league, and this is the chase for the top 5, and it doesn't get any better. It is not over. It's going to the final game. So Liverpool have obviously won with 83 points. Arsenal, City, Newcastle, Chelsea, Villa, Forest. I think Manchester City need 1 more point. 49 will do it. These are the games to look out for on Sunday. Manchester City go away to Fulham. United, Villa, Newcastle, Everton. The big crunch game is Forest and Chelsea. One of those teams has to win if they're going to have any opportunity of getting into the Champions League. Then moving away from that as well, we have to say what a huge night ahead we've got. It's the Europa League final tonight. Everybody, and if you listen to some of the stories about the fans, it's in Bilbao. Bilbao's only a small city. They are getting planes, trains, helicopters to get to this game. Spurs' last trophy in 2008. If anything, they're the mocking team when everyone has a go at them for not winning any trophies. They're desperate for it with Ange Postecoglou really under pressure. There was one of the media guys that said you're either a hero or a clown. Didn't like that. That's not very good. I don't think it's right. I don't think it's professionalism to say that. And he reacted in the press conference. So obviously the feelings are starting to go there. You've got Manchester United, who have been disastrous, as well as Tottenham in the league, but they have won trophies over the last couple of years, especially FA Cup being one of them. So tonight, get in front of the television, because that is a massive game. £100 million that's worth if you win it, and it's Champions League football. But wow, what a game. The fans are in the city, and I tell you something, anything could happen. It's win or bust. It really is win or bust, and that's what it means to both those two teams. So when I get back to you on Friday, I'll give you a rundown of everything. At the moment, it's all excitement.
These are the updates for the hour. Stay with us on Anewz for more world news throughout the day.